This is Duke University.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you. So I'm Brad Fox. I'm the Associate Dean of Master's Programs. And so on behalf of the Pratt School of Engineering, I wanted to welcome our graduates, their friends and family, and our faculty and staff to the 2018 Hooding and Diploma Ceremony for our Master of Engineering students. So this is really a celebration of all the hard work that our students have put into earning their degree. And so at this time, I think we should recognize our students with a round of applause. And although this weekend is primarily about our students, we certainly know that they wouldn't be successful without friends and family behind them to support them along the way. And so I'd ask our students to show their gratitude to the friends and family at this time. So the purpose of this ceremony is twofold. We are going to don hoods on our graduates and also give them a symbolic diploma. So many people are familiar with a diploma, but less people are familiar with the donning of a hood. Certainly it wasn't done in my undergraduate institution, and so wanted to talk a minute about what that represents and why this is such a significant event in the life of our graduates. So the ornate academic regalia that you see us wearing actually dates back to the Middle Ages. And during that time, a hood was often used to denote status. And it also helped to identify the community that you were from. And so in today's era, it serves the same purpose. And so you will notice that our Master of Engineering students will be hooded with a hood that has an orange collar. That's different than a lot of the faculty that you see up here today. They have a blue collar. That represents a philosophy degree because most of them had earned a Ph.D., which is officially in philosophy, even though most of our expertise is actually in engineering. So the hood that our students will get is orange, again, representing engineering. And on the inside of the hood, it is blue and white, representing Duke University. And as you look at the gowns of the folks here today, you'll see different colors inside their hoods representing different universities. And as you look across campus, you'll certainly see different degree programs as well as different universities, which really suggest the diversity of the community here at Duke. But today, we are granting you with a hood from the School of Engineering from Duke University. And so that is really our goal here today is to really recognize this significant contribution in your life in earning a degree, a graduate degree, an advanced degree from Duke University. And so we're just excited to be here with you today. And so with this, I'm going to actually introduce our student speaker, Benjamin Hoover from Electrical and Computer Engineering. He'll come up and say a few words. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Fox. I would like to begin with an old story. There was once a Jewish rabbi, a teacher, named Akiva. Late one day as the sun was setting, he was walking home to his city of Capernaum. He was so engrossed in his thoughts and his prayers that he took a wrong turn, and he found himself at the gates of a Roman fortress. Next to the gates stood a Roman centurion, a guard. And the guard, seeing the stranger approaching, yells, "Who are you? What are you doing here?" And Akiva, shaken out of his reverie, shouts back, "What?" And the guard repeats, "Who are you? And what are you doing here?" Akiva gathers his thoughts, and he responds with another question. "How much do you get paid to stand there and yell those two questions?" The guard's kind of stunned that this stranger is asking him such a question. He yells back, 2 drachma a week. And for us, a drachma is about the equivalent of a daily wage. And Akiva yells back, "I will pay you double if you stand outside my house and ask me those same 2 questions every morning." Who am I? What am I doing here? Well, judging from our funny hats and our funny gowns, medieval-looking gowns, and our orange tassels, we are Duke Masters of Engineering students, and we are here to graduate and celebrate the hard work that we've put forth. Some of us have spent the last 18 months, not years, in this program. Others, like me, have spent the past 5 years. Duke is the only upper education that I know. So I want to extend a thank you to you all for enjoying this time with me, and to the faculty for pushing us, for teaching us their skills and sharing with us their wisdom, and for my family that has been there supporting and encouraging me from the very beginning. But I want to go back to those same 2 questions from the original story, and I don't want to minimize their importance in light of graduation here today. Who am I? What am I doing here? Do we actually think that it's important to ask ourselves those questions? Would we ask ourselves those questions every morning? How often do we turn to others to answer those questions, seek answers that really belong to ourselves? So a small aside, over my time at Duke, I've had to come to terms with something about myself, and that is that I really love tools. I mean, it's why I came to Duke in the first place. But I always have a multi-tool on me. And at the risk of seeming indecent, mostly to the faculty, I'm going to get that just to make a point. Always have a tool on me, right? I remember telling a story, or I remember once upon a time I told someone that I always had in my bag rope and duct tape and zip ties, and I watched as they took 2 small steps away from me. I never realized how weird that was until that came out of my mouth. But I also bring up this tool thing because I'm carrying another thing on me, and thankfully there's no one on this side. But it's often overlooked, and it's just a simple measuring tape, right? So I came to this master program to learn the tools, engineering, mathematics, physics, the rules of how the body worked, so that we can treat problems, right? That's what we came here for. Maybe we came here to develop skills we can use in the professional world. In this context, I want to ask those same 2 questions again. Who are you? What are you doing here? And while I didn't come to Duke intentionally to figure this out, I found myself dealing with those questions and sometimes shirking them when I shouldn't be. Instead, I want to focus today's talk, because I'm not here to tell you guys who you are, certainly not, or what you should be doing here, but focusing on this measuring tape. How do we judge how far we've come, how far we've grown? I mentioned that I've only really been in school the past 5 years. I didn't take a stint out working in the professional world. Some of you probably have. And so you know the allures that money, or how far up the corporate ladder we've climbed, how alluring those are to use as measures of our success and our growth. Maybe some of you have even found a way to quantify happiness, because we're engineers and we can do that, right? And use that as a measure of our success. People every day are handing us measuring tapes, often of income, often of status, and every day we have a decision to make. Do we take those measuring tapes? It's the American dream to hand us measuring tapes of income, how far we've grown up the corporate ladder. In fact, we're at Duke, and if we take those measuring tapes, I bet you we'll even get some applause when we report how far we've grown by their units. But in my short experience here at Duke, and in my life, I've learned that our lives often tell the stories of the measuring tape we use to judge them, to judge our lives. But is that a story, the story of the income and the status? Is that the story we want to live? What if instead of choosing those measuring tapes, we chose measuring tapes that measured the growth of our character, or maybe even how full a story we've empowered others to live? What if we chose those measuring tapes? Would our lives look different than they do today? There is a wall at my house that's recorded the heights of the Hoover children throughout the years. Maybe you have a wall like that at your house. And so the measuring of the height over time, it's a family event. I remember standing at the edge of the wall, and my mom would hold a book measuring the highest point of my head, almost knocked my cap off, to the wall, and marking where that line is. One of my sisters would hold the measuring tape down at the bottom while the other stretched it above my head, and the whole time I'm standing there, my dad is off to the side making sure I'm not standing on my tiptoes, trying to seem taller than I actually am. In fact, after my sophomore year of high school, I was apparently 6'2". That's about 1.5 inches taller than I am today. I think I've shrunk over college. Who knew that could happen? But to take that story, we need to measure our height. But how do we do that? We first need to find a good and accurate measuring tape, one that we want to use and is consistent over the years, and we want to hand that to someone else who can measure for us. We want people to be there with us as we measure our height, to see how far we've grown and share our excitement over how far we've grown. And we need someone to keep us accountable. And then to make the final measure to see how tall we are, we need to step away from the wall and see the mark that we've left on the world. So you remember those 2 original questions. Who are you? And what are you doing here? To those 2 questions that are incredibly important, I add a third. And that is simply, what is your measuring tape? What units do you want to be measured by? Thank you. I believe the next part of the program is a slideshow designed by our fantastic MEng engagement crew that we can view. That was what I was supposed to say.
All right, I apologize for a moment. Forget what you've just seen for the last minute. Wipe it away from your memory. And we're going to restart. We have a couple of ceremonies today, and apparently we got the wrong one. So, just sit there in your seats for a moment, talk amongst yourselves, and once we get this back on track, we'll get it going again. All right. I apologize. So we're still having some technical difficulties trying to figure this all out. So as we hopefully have taught our students to do, at times you have to be flexible and adept and to just simply move on with life when things that come your way you hadn't quite expected. So with that, I'm going to introduce our commencement speaker. This is Professor Rick Telford. He teaches business fundamentals in the program, and so I'm going to ask Rick to come forward.
First, I'm going to tell you what the slideshow is going to show you. It's going to show a lot of pictures of students at parties and not studying. But I'm looking forward to seeing this year's. And by the way, Ben, good job. When you asked the question, who are you? I realized when he was standing here that I'm an old man. Because he was sitting here with his notes in 10-point font, and I've got this in front of me. Congratulations, everybody. It's good to see faces I haven't seen in a while. For the families that don't know, my class is required, and it's a Monday night class from 6 to 9 p.m. So over the course of 15 Monday nights, the students had to listen to me drone on for 3 hours. And they probably said to themselves, gosh, I'm finally done with that. Well, no such luck. You got at least a few more minutes to go. I noticed, by the way, of the 48 graduates we had, they were pretty much evenly distributed across 4 semesters, except for the 7 who waited to the very last semester to take my class, and not surprisingly, all 7 of them were guys. So time management, you know, something to work on. I do know some of you graduated in December, and so are out in the working world now. I saw some of you before the ceremony started. Hopefully those of you that have graduated here in the spring have a job. If you don't, feel free to come talk to me and ask me if you need any help in finding something. After a couple minutes of chastising you of not starting early enough to find your employment, I'd be happy to help however I can. When you decided to go on and get your master's degree, I know for most of you it was because you saw yourself more than being an average engineer. You saw yourself as a leader of people. And when you went on to make the decision to get your Master of Engineering degree, as opposed to an MS, for many of you also, it was because you saw yourself as a management candidate or, you know, potentially an executive. And because of that, we have, you know, focus in our classes on helping you with a set of skills. The business classes hopefully were key to providing a foundation for these business skills. And some of those skills are what we call soft skills. And just as important to your career growth as the technical skills you learned here, those soft skills will prove to be invaluable. Last year I read a column in Forbes magazine written by Carolyn Beaton. Carolyn interviewed over 100 top HR managers, recruiters, and CEOs and got a sense of the importance of these soft skills. She noted that the traditional skills, leadership, communication, and collaboration, continue to be emphasized by employers. One of the key differentiators of the Duke Master of Engineering program is we helped you develop these skills, and hopefully you will find that useful as you go on into your career. The more interesting part of the article, though, for me anyway, was the other 4 key soft skills that bubbled to the top of the list for employers today. As a hiring manager and executive at IBM for over 20 years, I can vouch for the fact that these soft skills are something that you definitely should continue to work on. So as you embark on your career, please keep this in mind, and I thought I'd go through them here real quickly. Number 1 is attention. Carolyn quotes Georgetown computer science professor Cal Newport as saying, "Focus is the new IQ." Managers are looking for employees who can, quote, "own and execute on a deliverable from beginning to end." I mean, this may seem kind of obvious, but you'd be surprised at how many people enter the workforce and they get started on a task and they just can't see it to completion due to lack of focus and lack of attention. You should treat every task that's assigned to you as critical. Manage your time wisely so you can continue to make progress. Keep your manager up to date on your progress. And most importantly, drive the project to completion no matter what problems arise. As you consistently deliver on the smaller things, your management will entrust you with the more important yet complex assignments. So I know there's a lot of things that compete for your attention, but attention is important in the workplace. Carolyn in the article calls the next soft skill more than college. I think a better term for that is a passion for learning. If you want a robust career path, your master's degree is not the end of your education, it's just the start. One CEO interviewed for the article says he specifically looks for people who are still willing to learn after college. You differentiate yourself from your peers by being the first to master new concepts, new skills, market shifts, emerging technologies, mission-critical processes to your business. Continue to learn as much as you can about your systems, your company, your market, and your competitors, and it will be noticed. The third soft skill is agility. Agility is the ability to overcome, or as Ann Crow, the CEO of Crow PR, puts it, not getting stumped at the early stage. It is about the assumption of change. Expect it rather than be frustrated by it. Employers are looking for people who can change directions quickly and effortlessly. while maintaining a positive attitude that can inspire others. Finally, there's the skill of humility. For some, this is a hard skill to master. I'm not mentioning any names. You need to internalize the fact that admitting you don't know something and asking for help is not a sign of weakness, but rather one of confidence. You are confident that you're a smart person, but that you don't know everything. Employers know that people who think they know it all are not trainable, nor are they good collaborators. Don't be afraid to ask for help, and it never hurts to be humble. I look forward to hearing how your careers advance and what you decide to do in this world. Many of you are already connected to me on LinkedIn, so be assured I will send you that congratulations when I see that you have a new job, promotion, or some other accolade. Let's keep in touch, and all of us here at Duke wish you the very best in the pursuit of your dreams and passions. Thank you.
Okay, it sounds like the slideshow is now ready. Great. was really great. And Sarah Dicker, I'm not sure if you ever had time to go to class based on that. Just saying. It is my pleasure to ask the first row of biomedical engineering graduates to please rise. These students will be hooded by Dr. Fan Yuan. Kathleen McKay Carroll. Sonali Shah. Karishma Desai. Blake Jai. Taylor Tu. David Catherall. Ryan Andrew Spears. Meredith Moncure Lee. Caleb Willis. Jared Quinn Robertson. Sarah Dicker. Pamela Chase Gore. Michael Chambers. Let's have another round of applause for our biomedical engineering candidates. Our civil and environmental engineering candidates will be hooded by Dr. Drew Hilton. Huan Yi Wei. Hui Liu. Cara de Groot. Let's have another round of applause for our civil and environmental engineering candidates. Electrical and computer engineering candidates will also be hooded by Dr. Drew Hilton. Yuhan Liu. Saeed El-Rama. Benjamin Michael Hoover. Maria Christina Folgaris. Hermón Augusto Barrios Sarmiento. Patrick Terry. Let's give our electrical and computer engineering graduates another hand. If our mechanical engineering and materials science students could please come forward. These students will be hooded by Dr. Chuanhua Chen. Aditya Kedia. Fabrizio Sciuto. Shogo Kamiyama. Marco Roseo. Iwin Mordveit Ellingson. Ignacio Joaquin Teixeira Núñez Devoto. Meredith Outlaw. Mayank Sharma. Mahesh Charmarthi. Let's have another round of applause for all of our graduates. Dean Fox will come up to give some closing remarks.
All right, I think another round of applause are in order for all of our graduates. So since we have now formally given you your degrees, I would ask that all of our graduates take their tassels and move them from the right to the left. Does it feel any different? I hope so. So I had a couple of thoughts that I wanted to share with you in closing. As you departed the stage, we gave each of you a gift. And certainly this gift is from us to you in congratulating you on your hard effort in order to earn this degree. We certainly know how much work that you all had to put into earning this degree, and this is a significant accomplishment. But as educators, we often have hidden meanings to things that we do, or we look for the symbolism beyond what may be obvious. And so I'm not sure if you've opened up your bags yet to see what's inside, but there are 3 things inside, and I wanted to talk for a moment about why we've chosen those 3 things. So the smallest in there is a lapel pin for Duke Engineering. You are now a Duke Engineering graduate. We are proud to claim you as one of our own, and we certainly hope that you will wear this with pride. You are part of the Duke family. You are now a Blue Devil. But being part of a family also has responsibility. And so if we ask you to come back and give an alumni talk or talk to a prospective student, we certainly hope that you will be part of the family and help us out. Being part of a family also means that your reputation is now our reputation. And so in everything that you do, we ask that you be honorable. We talked about it on the first day that you arrived here on campus, and we're going to talk about it on your last. You know, in the student speech today, Benjamin talked a lot about how will you measure yourself. And I think there are a lot of measures that you can use, but certainly I hope the honorability scale is one of those that's on your list. So as you think about how you measure your life, in all things, you do things honorably. The second item in your bag is a picture of the MEM cohort. And I'm not sure that I need to emphasize this. I saw the slideshow. You've all seen the slideshow. Clearly, your experience here was much more than just simply the classes you took, the homework you did, and the professors you met. Right? It's a lot about the students and the peers and the friendships that you've made here. So as you look at this picture, remember, these are the folks that helped you through the tough times, helped you to celebrate the victories. That doesn't end here today. You know, these are the MEng class of 2018, and so keep these individuals with you throughout your careers. The last thing that's in the gift bag is a book. And as mentioned by Professor Telford earlier, your education doesn't end with your degree from Duke University. You need to continue to learn throughout your life. And so the book selected this year was Start With Why. This was selected by our faculty, and it's actually quite appropriate this year because one of the companies that they talk about that often starts with why, understands the purpose behind what it is they do, is Apple. And our graduation speaker this year is Tim Cook from Apple. And so it turns out that was a very fortuitous choice on our part. So the book, again, is a reminder that as you leave Duke, continue to learn, continue to grow. Your education doesn't stop there. And we certainly hope that you will enjoy these gifts, and we wish you the best in the years to come, and we ask you to stay in touch. All right, so at this time, this concludes our ceremony. What I would like to happen is if the first row would now rise and process out of the auditorium, and then we have a reception out in the lobby. So if the first row would rise, and we should now cue the music as well. All right, very good. Thank you. Congratulations. Thank you, everyone, for coming, and enjoy the reception out in the lobby.
Produced by Duke University. Online at duke.edu.